Sakamoto Ryouma. I'm enjoying his story during the most recent Gura Gura, but him as a character is a very different story. There is so much going around against this character. It's not even funny. Him being used as a looper is severely hindered by his MP. Usually I say this to the end, but we gotta talk about it first. AoE 3 hits. 0.47. If you have ever used Kiara, normal Kiara in farming, he loops worse than her without the res down and without her third skill up. He is only barely saved by the fact he has an arts buff in his own kit. Kiara doesn't have that, she has res down. So they're probably closer to each other than you'd think. His main issue is refund. He's not gonna get that much back. I'll probably do a video of trying to use him starting from 0 on my alt account, but keep in mind that that account is not gonna have like his skills and shit leveled. So they're like full discrepancy, like that video might be scuffed to begin with. But I do have Oberon and I do have double cast Soria, so I can try to at least get some working view of it on the channel. But it's really nice that he ramps up MP damage, but they either need to like buff this MP and make it like have MP gain ramp up, which I think would actually help him out a lot, but obviously not too much, because you can only increase something by percentage so much before the fact that the base number you're multiplying it by is just too low. I'm almost tempted to ask for what they did for Iskander and just like make his base gain better. I am very close to like thinking that, because like he should be looping a little closer to Muramasa. He has the 50 battery, he has a card buff, and unlike Muramasa, his is permanent. But Muramasa just has a better base gain. He scales better with Castoria. Going into the same thing with Ryouma. Or kind of like, sorry, not the same thing, opposite. He doesn't get what he needs to go faster. Now, again, if you're using him in a challenge quest, a lot of these issues are gone, but you are going to have to rely on carding. And the thing with carding is he wants to be critting on these cards. These games, the way they are set up, they are meant for you to crit on them. Like with Zenobia. Very similar hit counts to Zenobia. Her gain goes crazy when she crits, but she's an archer that can drop stars for herself whenever she needs. All right, let's get started. 10.7 base attack. This is too close to Jarcher, and it plays into his problem even more. His base attack is too low. We'll have overkill issues. He has a very low hit arts MP. 3 hits is like the minimum you need to be looping, and he barely has what he needs to be able to do that. He might not kill in the first hit, which will affect his refund. His base gain is a little too low. It's gonna affect his refund. Black Girl can help out a lot, but again, multiplying a half times 80% is not gonna give you as much as 1 times 80%, right? HP a lot higher, and it makes sense. You saw it in the MP. He gets defense up 50% for 1 turn. That with this giant HP pool makes him very, very tanky. If he could spam his MP, he would be very tanky, but they made it so he can't spam his MP. Not easily, at least. Star weight, star gen, and normal Lancer numbers. I've talked enough about this. And again, the hit counts are phenomenal. If they fix this, he gets so much better. like borderline him getting an MP gain buff on his MP. That's how impactful like them upping his base gain would actually be for him. And like, you think I'm talking about out my ass on this, but like they have actually done and done this before. They did it with Iskander. He got I think it was an interlude or a rank up where it was just like, I think it was an interlude. They just fixed his base gain. And as much as you want to meme on Iskander for not functioning in the current meta, he needs the buffs. He does have like what he needs. Like the second he's able to do like farming and stuff, like he's easier to use in like challenge quests, he's gonna do so much better. Same with Ryouma. He gets his better gain, he will be he'll get very tanky because he can actually spam his MP. First skill, AoE arts 20%, AoE crit damage 30%, and one-time overcharge for the party. Lasts for 3 turns. Solid skill for multicore. Definitely very solid. Your single target gets an arts buff, they get a crit buff, and say it's like, I'm using an example like Berserker Castoria. He gets like both of her power mods go up from 50 to 75, I believe. Wait. Oh, I already had this open. No, okay. So both of them go up 12%. If you're hitting both niches, that's a 25% damage increase. Or not okay, you know what I mean by it though. Not 25% added to the special or the power mod in the function. Not gonna be direct like, wow, it's gonna be so much extra damage, but it's nice. This actually would like just make her function a little better in multiplayer. She doesn't need the help because it's Berserker Castoria, but she appreciates it. Okay. Oh, version? Oh, okay. Second skill, 50% battery, buff removal resistance for 3 turns, debuff immunity for 3 turns. He is not supposed to be farming. The thing is, you don't have many places you can actually be using him. Like, this is challenge quest. This is not farming. But he doesn't have the crit stuff really to be like wanting to be brought to a challenge quest. Like, he comes out, there is no Popus Johanna. There is no Lady Avalon. There is no arts like crit support besides Gil, and he doesn't exactly have the hit counts to be warranting Gil. This skill is awesome for a challenge quest, don't get me wrong. It's just like he needs the content for this. Or he needs more crit utility. And yes, he does have some stars per turn, but it's only 10, and he's an artser and a lancer. He already has lower star weight. Yes, he's getting a 30% arts and 30% buster, so he does have 50% arts and 50% battery in his kit, and he's still having these issues. It's not like he only has the 20% arts. This is like, he gets to carry, unlike Muramasa, he gets to carry his 50% arts buff the entire farm, and he is still having refund problems. A 5-star should not be in a situation where if you want to loot with him, you have to hope he doesn't kill the highest health enemy. You have to hope that he is like able to face guard after. That is not how art servants are supposed to be farming. That's more how quick servants function. He either needs a skill buff, but I think his skills are fine. That's the issue. That's the real issue. I don't want his skills to be buffed. They don't need the buff. They're good skills. On other units, this isn't a problem. It's more like, Like, where do you go with it? You like, are you gonna buff this skill and make the arts buff higher? Like, what? I could see them adding AoE every game. I could see that happening, but even that's a little bit of a stretch. Because these are just good skills. They're not year one skills that need to be buffed. There's nothing objectively wrong with them. Like, maybe that 30% is low, but it's AoE, not for one unit. I think they kind of dug it into a grave where like they were a little too concerned about him looping his MP, so they gimped him, but like now it's like he's barely usable. Passive skills: debuff resistance 15.5%, riding EX 12%, shapeshift Orochi, crit attack chance resistance 10%, and his own crit damage. So when his first skill is up, he has 40% crit damage in his kit. His quick card is really good, especially for a night class. This is one of the better quick cards. He will be able to gen a lot of his own stars, but as it is, there is no mighty chains. He does not have the help. And again, even with mighty chains, you are asking to face guard with an arts looper 5-star. I get Ramaru doing that. He's a 4-star. You can't be expecting her to be doing like Space Ishtar Summer Kama shit, because she's not. I say go mana loading just because it's easier for multi-core, but for actual looping, like, maybe this helps you out. Maybe this makes it easier for you to start from 0, but again, up in the air. If you're looping like I'm describing, he has to loop 30% every single turn. You pop the 2 Castorias on him, mana loading, pop his own battery. He needs to loop 70% every single time. Otherwise, he cannot start from 0. Now, if you're running Fragments of 2004, even that is debatable whether he could run it. Because with Fragments of 2004, he needs to at least be looping 70. If he is not looping 70, then and he loops 64, now you're gonna run into an issue where you don't have enough battery. I'm looking at his kit and I really think he could run Oberon. Whoever just made this list, I think it's Shord. He just didn't. Any arts looper really can loop with double Castoria and Oberon. It's not that hard. It's just it doesn't look that good. If this is his easiest unit to use, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. He has consistency issues that cannot be solved just by shoving down art support after art support. You could again, going back to it, you can only multiply a number so much before the fact that the number you're starting with is just too low. If you think about exponents, 10 raised to the 10th power is a 10 with 10 zeros behind it. 2 to the 10th power is significantly smaller. Let's bring it back even more so you can think about it. 2 to the 6th power is 64. Right? Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm saying this right. Yeah, 2 to the 6th power is 64. 10 to the 6th power is 1 and 6 zeros. Yeah. It's a 1 and 6 zeros. So a million. 64 compared to a million. And I know I'm really exacerbating that issue by bringing exponents, but that that's the main proof. There might be an only number difference starting at base, but when you're multiplying that much, you come into like, you do start seeing like the low number being a hindrance a lot sooner. If you're going to be doing any kind of face guarding, extra attack will help, but only if you're doing the extra attack. He is an arts unit. You probably are not going to be doing mighty chains that often. Like you're probably not. You might be doing brave chains in a challenge quest, but how hard are those going to hit without Popus Johanna? Like, the more I think about it, the more like I'm really coming around to Popus Johanna as a unit. Like, I'm definitely pulling her on my main account because there is such a lack of like actual full crit supports for arts units, like that they actually can keep the crit damage. And then again, going back to this, we'll go over it again just before the end. 50% defense for 1 turn. It might get to the point he can face take an MP, but I wouldn't try to face tank it. It would be better if he could reduce attack to somewhere else or do something. Like, this is definitely not meant to keep him alive from an MP. It's to make it so any chip damage is like almost nothing. But again, for say taking an MP, he is an art servant. You run him with Castoria. Why would you try to have everyone tank an MP when you can just use Castoria and no one takes damage? That's the issue with having such a tanky unit, when the main meta support is Castoria, and Castoria is Castoria. This MP damage is very nice. It's a very good base number starting at 20. So on the 3rd MP, you'd have 60% MP damage. He would work very well with Oberon. But it just keeps coming back down to whether or not you're refunding enough. I do think this is a little too misleading, not putting Oberon damage on here. I think that's a little... I think it's just too much. It makes him look a little worse because like the only other person using Ocean Flyer is a fucking 1-star. That is not fair. That's not... This is an unfair representation and makes Ryouma look way worse. Yeah, no, this truly makes it look like Mary Anning just is a better looper. Like, he might hit harder, but like it makes it look like she, proportionally, if you grailed her, you would get more out of it than like using Ryouma. So I will definitely try to like put out a Black Rail looping video with him pretty soon. Bonsi, arts up 10%. MP gain up 10% while he's on the field. Okay, so now I'm really starting to think that if they buff it, they're probably going to just give party-wide MP gain. Is that going to fix the issue? Probably. It's just that... please do it sooner than later if you're going to do it. Please. Anyway, this is Ryouma. Right now, I don't think he's a smart pickup. I think you should really be waiting until he gets a buff, unless you really like his character. Like, I'm not going to stop anyone from rolling because they like the character. I do that all the fucking time. It's just right now, Lottery, Melisson rerun, and then Tunguska. It's just a really shitty time to have clairvoyance and know you could summon for Ryouma. You could. Or you could summon for Melisson and use her to farm Tungusta and get a shitload of mats. Them's the breaks. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.